WandaVision? Old news. That show's like, what, halfway through its run? So according to the symptoms of Marvel hype syndrome, we must now start theorizing about the next MCU production coming our way, a little show called The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. This limited series promises a very different tone from WandaVision, a grittier espionage-focused action show featuring famous frenemies Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes.
Can you move your seat up?
No. But if rumors are to be believed, the two shows may have one thing in common: a surprise appearance from an X-Man. In this case, an X-Man named Wolverine. Buckle up, bub. Here's how a certain fast-healing Canadian could appear in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Everyone and their grandma knows the ins and outs of Marvel's behind-the-scenes business these days. But for those of you who have been living under a rock, the reason we haven't seen the X-Men in the MCU is because Marvel only recently regained the rights to use them. We still haven't had an official announcement regarding the mutants' future within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it seems plausible to assume that Marvel's drip-feeding little hints throughout its ongoing projects. There are certainly a few too many tantalizing clues at this point for it to be a coincidence. These guys, they know what they're doing. And with Evan Peters now making the jump directly from the non-MCU X-Men movies over to WandaVision, speculation is rife as to who else will be introduced or reintroduced. The recent Super Bowl trailer for Sam and Bucky's new show contained a lot of new footage and some exciting blink-and-you'll-miss-it details. But before we get into those, would a Wolverine appearance even make sense in this show? We think so. They don't necessarily have to explain much or anything about him. He's the kind of character who could appear for a couple of set pieces, maybe even less, leaving devastation in his wake without needing to distract too much from the main story. Plus, while he is certainly a formidable opponent, he's not so overpowered that our two heroes couldn't survive an encounter with him. Sam has the skills to hold his own, not to mention a certain famous shield, and Bucky's vibranium arm could be able to withstand Wolverine's adamantium claws. But this is all just supposition. Let's take a closer look at these clues. In the new trailer, we see a vibrant waterfront location that we now know to be Madripoor. In the comics, Madripoor is a mysterious and somewhat lawless island nation, the exact kind of place that globe-trotting adventurers like Sam and Bucky might end up. More importantly, it's a key location in the X-Men comics. Xavier's mutants even had their headquarters there for a time, and the island has always been a favorite haunt of Wolverine in particular. He spent a lot of time investigating mysteries and fighting crime, sometimes operating under the pseudonym Patch. He even co-owns a bar there, the Princess Bar, if you want to look it up. Now, just because they're introducing a new location in the show doesn't necessarily mean they're introducing a new character too. World building takes many forms, and this could just be a hint that we will be seeing more of Madripoor in upcoming shows and movies. It's a fairly unobtrusive way to foreshadow future X-Men shenanigans, but there are a few more details that are making our Wolverine senses tingle. See those bikers? See the red symbol on their jacket? It looks very much like the symbol of Ogun, a powerful ninja and mentor turned foe of Wolverine. The two have crossed paths on numerous occasions. In one comics run, Ogun was even involved in a plot to restart the Weapon X program that originally created Wolverine. Could the face just be an Easter egg? Yeah, potentially. But Madripoor, the presence of Ogun's goons, the confirmed casting of some Yakuza, the rumored presence of super soldiers, it's all feeling very Wolverine-y. So, say we're on the money, and the show will feature an appearance by a mysterious, big-haired berserker with claws. How might that work? If it is gonna happen, we would put money on a brief guest appearance at most, and we wouldn't necessarily expect the character to be given a name. We'd also predict an unknown actor for the role. Wolverine is a big deal, and while his movies have been, let's say, variable, Hugh Jackman has consistently killed it in the role. His Wolverine is arguably one of the most iconic actor-character combinations in superhero movies, which means replacing him is pretty major news. You wouldn't necessarily expect a studio to reintroduce such a huge character via a limited series on a streaming service, but Marvel and Disney aren't just any studios at this point. In terms of marketing, continuity, and cross-platform storytelling, they're breaking the mold. This kind of stealth reintroduction of a major character would certainly be unorthodox, but if we're talking about internet-breaking gambits, and no, not that gambit, this would be a hell of a thing. Can you imagine the word of mouth? Oh my god, Wolverine showed up in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier! It would be a surefire way to generate interest. And if we think about what we're expecting from the show itself, a cameo from Wolverine could quite easily fit. A major aspect of Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to be Bucky and Sam learning to work together, to trust each other. And for these sorts of characters, the best way for that to happen is to put them through the ringer. An encounter with someone as dangerous as Wolverine would be just the kind of trial by fire to achieve that. And ultimately, even if a full-on appearance for Logan is out of the question, we would not bet against some cryptic references. Like we said, previous experience and precedents and such would point away from Disney introducing him this way. But after the appearance of Evan Peters in WandaVision, we'd say that all bets are off.